Welcome to the Podkey summary of Best Thing I Never Had. Today's catch-up is all about how one Beyoncé song managed to do a lot at once. It started from a hip-hop spark, turned into a huge pop and R&B ballad, and then kept evolving through performances, covers, and a very memorable video. It's also a song with a pretty sharp emotional trick at its center. Instead of mourning a failed relationship, it treats the breakup like a lucky escape, and that mix of relief, polish, and bite is a big part of why people argued about it and kept talking about it. One of the most interesting things here is how different the original idea was from the finished track. It began as a late 80s style hip-hop concept, inspired by the drumming on Dougie Fresh's 1985 single, The Show. Then it got completely reshaped into this mid-tempo pop and R&B power ballad with gospel touches, cascading piano, strings, and those huge bass drums that make it feel ready for an arena, even when the lyric is personal. And Beyoncé apparently knew very quickly what it was. Patrick Jake Smith said she approved the demo almost immediately, made only slight changes, and recorded that song plus 2 others within an hour. He also remembered her working so intensely into the night that she ignored being hungry, which is one of those tiny studio details that tells you a lot about the level of focus. Lyrically, the song flips heartbreak into self-protection. The basic feeling is, thank God you showed me who you were before I got in any deeper. That's where the karma line lands so cleanly. What goes around comes back around. It's not revenge in the dramatic movie sense. It's more like delayed clarity. And the title idea is the real hook underneath everything. She says she became the best thing I never had, which turns loss into perspective. In her version of the story, he didn't just lose the relationship, he lost the chance at a happy life with her, and she gets to look back feeling relieved instead of wrecked. A lot of critics immediately framed it as Irreplaceable Part 2, which makes sense on the surface because both songs are built around romantic rejection and a woman taking back control. But that comparison also boxed it in a little, because for some reviewers it didn't hit with the same instant icy sharpness as Irreplaceable. The divide seemed to come down to tone. Some people really liked the polished, radio-friendly optimism and thought Beyoncé's vocal sounded wounded but steady, which is a hard balance to pull off. Others got hung up on the blunt lines, especially "you showed your ass" and "sucks to be you right now," and called them juvenile or just kind of lame. Honestly, that tension is part of what makes the song memorable. It wants elegance and pettiness in the same room, which is very human, even if not everyone wants that in a power ballad. The video takes that emotional payoff and turns it into a full fantasy of fulfillment. Instead of just showing heartbreak, it puts Beyoncé in the middle of a lavish wedding setup, while flashbacks tie the story to a high school boyfriend who neglected her at prom. So the old hurt is still there, but the visual ending isn't about being stuck in it. She walks confidently toward a new marriage, while the ex is left behind with his prom king crown sitting crooked, which is a wonderfully specific little humiliation. Beyoncé linked the concept to her own life too, saying she never went to prom, and that this imagined prom basically sucks. That gives the video an extra layer. It's not just revenge on an ex. It's also a chance to play with a missed rite of passage, plus all the royal bridal spectacle that comes with that kind of dream imagery. The release path for the song wasn't perfectly tidy at first. There was some uncertainty after End of Time leaked, and 1+1 came out as a US-only promotional single. So for a minute, the rollout around the album 4 looked a little unsettled. But Columbia eventually backed Best Thing I Never Had as the second official single, and that decision paid off, especially once live performance entered the picture. Her 2011 Glastonbury appearance gave the song a real boost. In the UK, it debuted at number 3 before the official release there and sold 51,365 copies in 1 week. That Glastonbury performance also reached American viewers through the BET Awards broadcast, which is a nice example of how one big festival set can ripple across markets. If you only look at the US Hot 100, where it peaked at number 16, you might miss how strong this song was overall. Internationally, it did much better than that number suggests. It hit number 3 in the UK, number 2 in Ireland, and top charts, including Croatia, the UK R&B chart, the US Dance Club chart, and South Korea's Gaon International chart. The sales were substantial too. More than 1 million paid US digital downloads by October 2012, and over 1.1 million copies in South Korea. It was certified triple platinum in the United States and quadruple platinum in Australia, which is a pretty solid reminder that chart narratives can get narrow fast if you only tell them through one country. Another reason the track lasted is that it worked in very different performance settings. At Glastonbury, it had the scale of a huge headline moment. At Roseland Ballroom in New York, it could shrink down and still hold its shape, backed by an all-female band and backing singers. That kind of adaptability says something useful about the writing. Underneath the big production, the core sentiment is sturdy enough to survive a change in room, band, and mood. And outside Beyoncé's own shows, other artists pushed it even further. Lil Jon and Shawty Putt turned it toward funk and hip-hop using the Gap Band's Outstanding, which is quite a pivot. Then the Horrors went the opposite direction and remade it as a gloomy Smiths-like shoegaze cover, which is a sentence that almost sounds made up, but there it is. When a song can handle all of that, it usually means there was more going on in it than the first round of hot takes allowed. So, this ends up being more than a breakup single, with a killer title. It's a song about timing, perspective, and the strange comfort of realizing disaster may have actually done you a favor. And if it also gave us prom regret, bridal fantasy, festival drama, and a shoegaze detour, that's a pretty full life for one track. This episode was generated by Podkey. Create your own at podkey.fm.